Do you ever get off a sales call or have your sales team get off a call and they're just baffled? They don't understand why it didn't close. And you're just sitting there thinking, what the hell just happened? This is the real pain that no one talks about. It's the silence that happens after a call that should have become a customer, but you have no idea why it didn't convert on that call. So you could be sitting there pulling your hair out and trying to figure out, was it the tone? Was it the framing of the offer? What was it that made them not buy? So after doing 2 decades of sales calls between real estate, calling cold leads back, and multi-level marketing, I had plateaued. I had reached a level that I wasn't progressing through, and I had paid for coaches to help me break through that plateau. Nothing was working until I decided to take all of their material and put it into a knowledge base and let AI review each and every one of my transcripts. So, the reason this is going to be so helpful is that you get one on one coaching with a coach that is a professional in citing what you did wrong and what you did right inside each one of your transcripts on each and every call. You don't have to wait a week to jump on some Zoom with some professional coach to analyze your call. You get instant feedback. So each and every call, you're progressing each time so that the next call, you become a little bit better. In order to show you how this system works, I'm going to use an example from one of my calls so that you can see exactly how it works. So I'm inside the Zoom Reflex project, and you can see there's a ton of chats in here, all based on transcripts from my Zoom calls. So I didn't know which one to pick. So guess what I did? I came into the project and I just asked, hey, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to do this. I'm going to share something with the public that was really helpful for somebody else. And I don't know where to start. And it's like, pick this video. This is where you can share your vulnerability. This is where you messed up, and share that and show how this coaching AI can fix it. So that's what I did. So you can see I vibe coded that whole thing right here. And then it's telling me which one to source and which one to do, even lays out how I should structure this video. And then we're going to do what it says right here. Go find the August 5th transcript and paste it in. And I'm just going to paste and hit send. So we have the whole transcript in here, and now it's giving us the output. It's always going to start with strengths because it's going to build you up before it's going to tear you down. So here, my rapport was casual, natural tone, and I didn't overkill the rapport. That's great. Technical monitoring, I matched his exact flow with his level of knowledge. The frame, I held it. I might have been a little vague or focused on mentorship and collapsing time, but I did hold a authority frame. And then I seeded urgency lightly, which could have caused it not to close. I just mentioned things at the end of the call, reserve your onboarding. It was subtle, but it wasn't to the point. High perceived status, I did reference Jay Feldman's PR agency as metrics. And if somebody wants to get to that level, maybe they should be choosing somebody to mentor under. But let's go into weaknesses, because this is really where you sharpen your knife. There was no emotional contrast. I never triggered any buying beliefs because I already knew this guy. I didn't dive into what his pains were again, what it was costing him not to move forward. And I didn't paint the desire of where he wanted to be. He stayed in logic the whole time. So the pitch also lacked structure. Because I didn't have anything from discovery, I couldn't move that into a promise to fix it. I couldn't give him a process that we would use to fix it. And I couldn't offer him a structure to be able to prove to him this was the right place to solve his problem. So without a certainty check, I'd never asked about price. Like, I never said to him, hey, does this fix your copywriting problem? We had somebody here that English was not his native language. So he was struggling with the ability to have copy that was converting and creating curiosity. I never leaned into that. I never asked him, what's it costing you not to get this fixed? How many clients are you losing? And how many campaigns have you run that aren't producing at the level that you want them to? Because I didn't dive into these things, we never got a sale. So, why the system is so important and what makes it different is if you're anything like me, you get super nervous whenever you're on coaching calls. But guess what? With I can yell at it. I can tell it you're completely off. You had no idea this person was this person was that. And it gives it more context and it'll be super polite and answer me and say, "Oh, thanks for the context." And then it will go deeper into an analyzing that exact transcript and give me even better feedback. Humans can't do that. So now we're going to move into the actionable improvement plan. And it's telling me inside my discovery what I needed to fix. I needed to ask, how long have you been trying to solve this copy problem solo? Great question. Didn't ask it. The next one would have been after they answered that, what's the risk if replies stay this low for the next 3 months? It's getting them to analyze, like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, where am I going to be in the future? Again, I didn't say that. Then their desire, paint what it looks like for them to win. What if you had 10 to 15 qualified calls on your calendar each week? Getting them to envision if they do fix this now, what life's like when it's fixed. Now, those were the three parts that were missing, and that's why there was no emotion attached to pulling out their card to purchase. So, before we get into the pitch fix, I just want to remind you, you might be thinking, why is this relevant to me? Well, what if you knew how to fix each one of your calls so that you moved more prospects into customers? So, the next step of a call after you do discovery is to pivot into a pitch. And again, because I thought this was a laydown, I didn't do that. I didn't say, based on what you've shared with me so far, is it okay for me to share with you how we fix that? There was no pivot and there was no pitch. And that's exactly what it's going through right here. I missed the three pillars of our foundational offer. I didn't talk about precision prospecting protocol. I didn't talk about offer optimization and copy. And I definitely didn't talk about speed to lead automations. All of those things were left out because I just thought he was going to buy because he told me he was already in on a previous DM. So now, when I actually asked, hey man, let's just get you onboarded and enrolled, because I'm assuming the sale, thinking it's already closed, he starts firing off objections, totally blindsides me. Oh, I just need to decide if I should hire a copywriter or join your program. Oh my God, I didn't even know he was thinking about hiring a copywriter just to fix this problem. Now I'm totally blindsided and I'm playing catch up because there was no pain, there was no cost of inaction, and there was no belief established early in the call that this would fix his problem. There's no way to solve these now. The only way to try to is to use cushion, clarify, isolate, reframe, and then invite. But of course, I was pulled completely off guard. So I didn't do any of that structure either in this call. And so here is what it's recommending that I should have said when he said that. Totally fair question. But just let me clarify. Are you leaning towards hiring a freelancer because you want this done for you? Or is this really about speed? So right there, I'm giving him an identity shift, right? He's either going to hire someone from Fiverr or he's going to do things faster, maybe with our program. And then you invite, right? If the copy was solved, would there be any other reason you wouldn't join? This is isolating it all down to, is that his only objection? Because why solve it if he's got 15 more, right? So most founders, this is an identity shift. Most founders waste 6 months bouncing between writers. We shortcut that. You get feedback and copy from our coaches who have helped build 7-figure outbound machines. And it's tailored, not templated. See? Big difference. That's what I should have said. But again, in the pressure of the moment, didn't do it. The reason that this specific GPT is so effective is that I built a 35-page offer doc that describes everything that we actually sell. It's also programmed with a immense knowledge base based off of coaching that I've gotten on sales and conducting these calls. That is the magic recipe that makes this so effective. Just to clear the air, this is not your ordinary GPT that you just send a transcript to and say, hey, give me some feedback. It's not going to work like that. It's not going to break it down into these categories that I talked about. It's not going to give you tough love, and it's not going to give you your upgrade suggestions. And it's definitely not going to role play with you the way this one will. With that being said, there's a few cheeky things that I did put in here, some tough love and upgrade suggestions, as you can see here below. It will also write a follow-up DM or email that specifically goes into what their pain points were and gives them an identity fork in the road for them to either bow out or move forward. So what I would really like to do with you is actually run the tie down price reframe and close role play right now. I'm going to go on a walk and I want to listen to it and role play back and forth with you. So what you have to do to have it talk to you is just hit this.
Perfect. Let's run it like we're back in that moment with Alex. Your objective is to lock down belief before handling the price. You're not here to explain more. You're here to test his certainty, isolate objections, reframe his fork in the road moment, and invite a decision. Context reminder. Alex has a working outbound system. His pain point is low quality replies. He's debating, should I just hire a copywriter or join insiders? Roleplay flow. You start your line, deliver your certainty check tie down. Use your voice. Say something like, so based on what we've covered so far, do you feel like this could actually solve the copy problem and get your reply rate where it needs to be? Say it now, and I'll respond as Alex. Ready when you are.
So based on what we covered so far, do you feel like this is actually going to solve your copywriting problem and get you the reply rate to where you want it to be?
I mean, yeah, probably. I can see how it might help, especially if I can get real feedback on my copy. But I guess I'm still not sure if I'd be better off just paying a copywriter and skipping the coaching route altogether. Your move. Clarify plus isolate. You're not fighting him, you're surfacing the real objection. Try something like, open quote, totally fair. Just to be clear, is the main hesitation that you'd rather have it done for you? Or is it more about speed to results? Quote, say it out loud, and I'll give you his response.
That's totally fair, Alex. But is your hesitation that you just want it done for you by some freelancer? Or do you want a 7-figure team with proven copy to write it for you?
Well, yeah, I just don't have time to experiment. Like, if I can pay someone to just write good copy that works, that feels easier. I'm already juggling automations, enrichment, all the back end. I don't want to be stuck learning copy from scratch. Your move. Reframe plus paint future. Now hit him with identity and outcome. Here's your cue. Totally get that, but let me ask you this. What's going to move the needle faster? Bouncing between freelancers who don't know your system, or locking arms with the same team that scaled Jay's outbound from 50 to 220 plus booked apps month? Then stack the reframe. You've already built the machine. Copy is the last bottleneck. You really want to gamble that piece on Fiverr roulette? Close quote. Now go, say it out loud like you're challenging his logic. I'll play his next move.
Alex, I totally get that. But let me ask you something. What is going to move the needle faster? Bouncing between freelancers and duct taping things together? Or locking arms with a team that's built this hundreds of times? I guess the real question is, you've already built the machine. Copy is just the last bottleneck. Do you really want to gamble that piece on Fiverr roulette?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just, I've spent so much money on stuff that didn't pan out. I don't want to throw another $1,500 at something unless I know it's going to work. Your moment. Final close, cost of inaction, plus fork in the road, invite. You've isolated the real fear. Scared to invest again. Now deliver this sequence. Strong and calm. Totally fair. And I respect that. But let's zoom out for a second. You're sending 900 plus emails a week. getting 2 to 3 responses that might book. So what's the cost if nothing changes next month or the month after that? Now here's the fork in the road. You can keep duct taping campaigns and hoping your copy hits. Or you step into a proven system where winning campaigns are built live, reviewed by 7-figure coaches, and adapted to your niche. One path keeps you guessing. The other puts book calls on your calendar, reliably. What do you want to do? Say that now, out loud. Then I'll play his final response. Let's lock this in.
Yes, sir. Alex, that's totally fair, and I respect your concern. But if we could just zoom out for a minute, you're sending almost 1,000 emails each week, getting like 2 responses that may book. So what's that actually costing you each month? And then the next month? Because the real fork in the road here is if we keep duct taping campaigns together, hoping your copy hits, is that going to work? Or do you need to step into a system with winning campaigns built live with you, reviewed by 7-figure coaches, and adapted to your niche? I mean, one path keeps you guessing, and the other one's going to put those booked calls with your ideal customer profile on your calendar. So, which one do you want to do?
Open quote. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Close quote. I'm leaning toward just doing it. Let me pull up the link and take a look. If the one time's still open, I'll probably just lock it in today. Tie down complete. That's how you lead a logical buyer to an emotional decision without sounding pushy. Debrief. What you did right. You didn't chase, you challenged. You moved the convo from, is this worth it, to what's the cost if I don't? You sold identity and future state, not just features. Open quote, one path keeps you guessing. The other puts booked calls on your calendar. That's the kind of sentence that wins decisions. Want to burn it in? Say the word and I'll run it again from the top, but I'll be Ian this time and you play the closer. We'll flip roles so you lock this into your bones. Ready?
So that's just a small intro into how I would actually use this in a role play. I would continue on walking or riding my mountain bike and talking back and forth with this role play until it completely burned it into my brain, making it second nature. This is invaluable practice. This allows you to never make the same mistake on a call twice. That's absolutely unbelievable. Now, how I've actually gone about doing this is really simple. I just simply bring up the same project on my phone and take it out on walks and then ask it for clarifying questions if I'm uneasy. Then I won't read it anymore. I'll just say it out loud and then it'll correct me, be like, "Oh, that's close, but to make that into a 10 out of 10, you need to do it this way." And it would give me the suggestion of how to word it better. Okay, so we went through a lot. And just so you know, if you just cut and paste your transcript into a normal GPT, it's not going to give you an output like this. And it's not going to role play with a knowledge base based off of some of the greatest closers that run 7-figure coaching programs. This specific one is got the knowledge base and the prompting for all of that. And I'm going to give it to you for free. But the one thing I can't do is I can't program it with your specific offer. That's the bottleneck right there. If you want that, just comment down below and we'll see if we can work together on implementing it with your offer doc. And if you need help with how to build an offer doc, I did make a different video about that that will drop up over here just so that you can get that offer doc and implement it into this free agent.